Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Benton with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said in every episode, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
We have country artist Joe Nichols with us today. He has 6 #1 hits and numerous top 10 singles, and his current single, title track Good Day for Living, is top 40 and climbing at country radio.
And we're going to talk about all that and then some. So let's see where this goes. So welcome to the show.
Welcome.
I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for having me today.
So let's talk about, I've been listening to your new song and I've heard it many times on the radio, and we just crossed 20 years of marriage. And that
Awesome.
and really that
Congratulations.
song is the way we've lived our life. It really is.
That's
so tell
really
us
great.
about the song.
Well, it's called Good Day for Living. It's I think it's a song, I think it's a song about gratitude.
Definitely.
To me, I think every day is a good day if you have gratitude, if you have perspective that kind of, no matter what the situation is, I'm thankful for what I have. It may not be very much, but I'm thankful for what I do got. I have a breath in my lungs and blood in my veins, and good family and God that loves me. So every day's a good day for living. That's kind of what the song is, gratitude, even when things ain't great.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Now let's go back some. When you look back on your career, a lot of people would ask, when did you know you wanted to do music? But I always like to go a little deeper than that. When did it click back then for you that, wow, this could be my career?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think, when I was a little kid, since I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, I wanted to be a singer. I didn't know if I would make a career out of it, but I wanted to be a singer. My dad was a singer and his dad was a singer. My uncles were singers, players and singers. And I always wanted to do it musically. When I was about 16 or 17 years old, I kind of lost interest in high school, lost interest in baseball, and lost interest in a lot of things other than music, money, and girls. That's kind of all I focused on. And I thought, I wanted to get out of Rogers, Arkansas, where I'm from, and because basically you can't start a music career in Rogers, Arkansas. So I had to go somewhere where it was happening a little more. I found my way in Fort Smith, Arkansas, which is a little closer to Nashville. And then eventually I moved over to Nashville in '97. And when I got there, it's such a big town. I was so intimidated by it, way bigger now, but so intimidated by it. I was like, oh my God, is this really going to ever happen? It's just so many people here trying to do the same thing. But I got my first major label deal in '99 or 2000, and that was the time. And I got a publishing deal right after that, signed to a booking agency, and that was the time I was like, oh, I got a shot. I got a shot at maybe doing something here. And when I heard my first song, The Impossible, on the radio, I thought, man, I could maybe make a little living out of this for a little bit, maybe a couple of years. When that song went #1 and then Broken Heartsville went #1 after, I'm like, all right, now I'll be able to make a living, maybe beyond 5-10 years, and maybe. And I remember saying in interviews then, people said, what do you see for your career? And I said, man, I just hope to be doing this in 20 years. I hope to just have a job doing this. And here we are 20 years later. And I'm like, I just want to be doing this another 20 years, or as long as I want to do it, and not as long as I have to do it or anything like that. I think, I thought at that time when we started having radio success that I might be here a little while. Hopefully, if I keep finding good songs or writing good songs, then maybe we'd have a shot at a long-term career,
So tell us about The Impossible. How did that come about, since that was kind of the first real success you had?
Yeah, it was a song that my buddy, my late friend Mike Owens found. It's a Lee Miller and Kelly Lovelace song. They've gone on to write many big hits. But I remember hearing the song, and we all thought, boy, if we could pull that off in the studio and make it good, or make it appealing to country radio, then the message of the song is really great. This was after 9/11. I think people were kind of getting over that a little bit, and the emotional songs of hope were starting to kind of bust through a little bit. People kind of wanted to have something to root for and cling, to as far as messages of hope. And I think it was just perfect timing on all that stuff. The message was great and timeless, and we put a good cut on it. It was a good vocal, and it impacted radio right away.
Definitely did that, because that was a
yes,
that
very
was big,
powerful song.
powerful
Yes.
song.
Mhm.
And like you said, for that time, you couldn't have asked for a better
Yes.
song to give
Yeah.
hope and all that. So, a lot of people, they see the glory in what you have done all these years, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles it takes to get to your level or any level within entertainment. And I always want to talk about that side of it, because I think a lot of people sugarcoat this, but
Yeah.
let's be real. It's tough. There's a lot of sacrifice. So tell us about that side of it a little bit. Take us back about when you were trying to make this thing work, the sacrifices you've had to make.
Well, back in the early days, boy, there's so many ways I can go with this. As far as the physical sacrifice, I think, in order to be visible, especially without a catalog of hits, as a new artist, essentially, to be visible, you have to do everything and anything that somebody asks you. If you, hey, we're going to give you $20 to go play at this place, I'll take your $20 and I'll go play at that place. I'll play in front of 50 people for free, as long as those 50 people tell their friends, and maybe we can get another 50 people later on. You kind of have to say yes and be willing to do anything and everything, to get your music heard, and maybe get a shot at more people hearing your music. So that's kind of the sacrifice. There's really no fallback either. I kind of went over this, with my children, and my mother, and my wife. I was very naive when I wanted to bust into this music business. I had no fallback. I had no backup plan, and I was kind of working without a net, 1,000 feet high. And thank goodness it worked out, because I can't imagine what I'd have been doing. But no, I think as far as sacrifices go, I don't know. I think you sacrifice your sanity quite a bit in this business. It's certainly, from single to single, you can sacrifice, or you kind of lose your mind a little bit with, what you think is fair and what other people think is fair, and what you think is good and what other people think is good. And it doesn't necessarily always line up. And but more importantly than anything I could ever say about myself sacrificing is what my family sacrifices. What my wife sacrifices with me being gone, and she's the kind of got the sole responsibility of making sure the kids are educated and cared for appropriately. And when I'm gone, a lot of times I'm kind of dad from the sideline saying, I hope y'all are doing great. We FaceTime all day, and you guys look like you're doing fantastic. But mom is really the superstar there, and she sacrifices that. And I don't get to be there for a lot of big dad moments, like I normally would have. So those are the things that really are important, nowadays.
And nowadays, compared to when you were coming up in this, you have social media that's kind of been a game changer for a lot of the up and coming people, because now, it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like, now you can get noticed, but now for labels to even notice you, if you don't have a following, they're not signing you. So it's like a double-edged sword.
It's a weird deal, labels, when we talk about it in that context, labels kind of want you to do the hard work first and make their job easier, and they just kind of piggyback on what you've already done. I have a buddy that has a son that's become a very big deal on social media and is doing really well with his music without a label. And now labels are kind of beating down his door. And I'm like, dude, don't give it away if you don't have to. You're doing great. All the you're doing is giving somebody the rewards of all your hard work for very little. Ask for a ton of money. Because
he controls it now.
Yeah,
that's exactly right. But I think there's like you said, a double-edged sword with social media nowadays, especially when it comes to new artists. Because I believe that you have to know yourself more than anybody when you break into this business. You have to know who you are and believe who you are, because the last thing you want to be is somebody that sings songs that you have no idea who they are. You don't connect with them, and you're playing basically a character. 30 years from now, are you going to want to sing the songs that you sung now in the spirit of just trying to get famous? Or trying to get followers today? You could sell yourself into something that you don't necessarily like or agree with 5 years from now. And boy, I can't think of a more miserable existence than having to be a slave to something you can't stand, as far as being just singing music that you maybe didn't believe in the first place, but somebody talked you into, or something that was a trend in the moment that is totally not a trend in the next moment, and you're stuck with that for 15 years and you don't like it. But I would say to new artists, be careful of not knowing who you are, because once you're out there, you're out there, and people either like you or they don't. But one thing you can kind of be content with is then knowing that, I am who I am. People buy it or they don't.
Now you've had the dream career for a lot of new artists. I mean, you've lasted 20 plus years here. What do you think you can attribute to lasting? Because, a lot of people, they come, they have a few hits and then they leave, but you've been able to manage to keep this ball rolling for this long. How do you think you've done it?
The honest answer is other people's hard work that don't get recognized. I think great songs that have come my way that I've been very fortunate to cut. I wrote a couple that I'm proud of that have contributed to that. But more than anything, people that you don't know the names of along the way, whether it be producers or labels or writers, musicians, people that don't get near the credit, and people, like the label that I'm currently on, Quartz Hill, is owned by a man that has been my biggest champion for many years. And without him, I wouldn't have had Sunny in 75 or here we are with Good Day for Living and Home Run. And so people like him, Benny Brown's his name, and he's been an angel to me. But people like him that don't necessarily get the credit they deserve, but, my name's attached to everything, and the fans see my name on this song or this video and this at this time. I think that's my honest answer. A lot of people that don't get the credit, have contributed the most.
I'm glad you said that, because one part of our show that we always talk about, because like you said, they don't get credit, is, a lot of people, they see you, but they don't see the team, as you said. In our opinion, teams never get the love.
They don't.
But on our show, they get some love. So take a few moments and just tell us about the team that helps you be who you are today.
Boy, well, I said it starts from the top. Benny Brown, who owns Quartz Hill Records, has a great ear for songs, and always has had a great ear for songs, and kind of matching songs with artists. And that's a rare quality. A lot of A&R people are really bad at their jobs, and he's one of those rare guys that are really good at it. And so it starts with him. I think it moves to producers. Mickey Jack Combs and Derek George are the two producers I'm working with currently, and they're amazing. They complement each other great. They both have really intelligent musical minds. It's like watching mathematicians do math problems, out loud. It's really kind of amazing to watch that. I'm a singer and I'm a musician, but it's another thing to have a creative mind that also matches up with structure, and the way that an architecture could see a building. And I can go back through producers that I've always loved and always worked great with and have always made music that I love. And I'll start with my very first producer, Brent Rowan. Wonderful man, incredible human being, and an incredible producer. Produced Broken Heartsville and The Impossible, and some of my most favorite things I've ever done, Man with the Memory. And so along the way, Buddy Cannon was always a great producer to me, and hard worker. There's been some great writers that, have contributed some great songs to my career with, the guys from Broken Heartsville, Tequila Makes Your Clothes Fall Off, to Jason Sellers, Sunny in 75, and Dallas Davidson, Ashley Gorley, Red Akins, those guys, contributing and giving that girl, stuff like that. I think great songwriters, great producers, great A&R, great leadership, and also, some of the unsung heroes that people even beyond that wouldn't know, people like promotion staffs, radio teams of people that are, going out door to door and kind of saying, have you heard this song about Joe Nichols? You got to play it on your radio station. This is great. And so people that are your champions that are, that are doing the hard work, and kind of introducing you to markets and places and radio guys and girls that kind of move the business along. And they don't get a lot of credit, they don't get a lot of credit for that. So I appreciate every one of those.
Speaking of teams, we have a third co-host, our 10-year-old, that we bring on and ask a question.
And he is a huge country music fan. He's a fan of yours. He loves all your songs. I'll go get him.
So while we're waiting on him, what do you feel is next for you?
as far as like logistical kind of things, like the next year,
Yeah.
I think we're seeing the success of Good Day for Living pay off, right away with touring next year and with, bigger things. So this year was a bigger year than the last, and last year obviously was bigger than the year before because of the pandemic and stuff. But just seeing some great growth in the fan base and a lot of the internal, numbers, data, that things are growing in a great way. And so I think touring was going to be a little bigger and more special next year than it even was this year. And we had a good year. And I think that's it. We're just going to focus on this single and ride it out. Hopefully we'll be talking about, bigger things in the spring and summer, on the horizon. So, and we'll start the new music process as far as another album, probably in the first quarter next year. We'll start songs and we'll start talking about direction. And that's usually like a 1.5 year process. Yeah. So we probably a little ways off from new music.
Hi, Nichols. So what's your favorite foods?
Hey, man. Nice to talk to you. My favorite foods, love me some Texas barbecue, actually Texas brisket, and love me some New York style pizza. That's two of my favorites.
What's yours?
Mine's pizza.
Yeah, man. Good pizza is hard to beat.
So which barbecue is better, Nashville or Texas?
I live in East Texas, so I'm a little biased, but in my trying to be objective opinion, my totally subjective objective opinion, I would have to say Texas brisket is the best thing on the planet as far as cooking meat.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.
So as you go along this journey, when you get to the end of it, wherever that looks like for you, what do you hope you never forget along this journey?
Ooh, number one, I hope I never forget that all blessings are from God, and that's hands down what I believe, and the things He's done in my life are nothing short of miraculous, really. And so I think all the blessings, from my wife, from my beautiful children, the people in my life that have propped me up, that have helped me out, that have blessed my family in so many ways. I think those are all blessings from God. I hope I never forget that. And I hope I never forget, the moments where I needed, Him most. He's always showed up. And to me, that's the most important things that I can think of, spiritually, emotionally, all those things, and the people He's put in my life. Like I said, Benny Brown has been a humongous angel in my life. I think those are blessings from the guy upstairs. And I don't ever want to go a day, not a single day, not a single morning without ever thanking Him for all of it.
Awesome. And what would you like your legacy to be as an artist? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
Ooh, boy, that answer right there has changed so many times over the years. I think I would like people to remember me and remember my career as being a constant or a consistent kind of artist, somebody that you could rely on for having a particular sound, and hopefully being successful with that. I know there's been times in country music where being a traditional guy has not been a very popular thing at all.
Looks like it's coming back.
And there's times where it looks like it comes back around, and all of a sudden being a traditional artist is the end thing. And so hopefully, people will remember that even through the thick and thin years, I was kind of the same guy.
Yeah.
Love that.
Love it. And if you could say anything to your fans and followers, what would you want to tell them?
First of all, thank you for the diehards, and thank you for the loyalty. I love that, fans of country music have in general had a good opinion of me. I think, I think at least I want to think that.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's true, but I'd like to think that. And man, just over the years, thank you for the benefit of the doubt. Always fans keep an open mind with me, and I don't know that even the songs that I've had that didn't work, people were willing to give me a chance on the next one. And so I think that's kind of contributed to 20 years of being able to be relevant at radio at times, because people would forgive me for a song that didn't work, and kind of look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
So as we close out here, what advice would you give that person that wants to do what you do?
follow through with your education. Go as far as your education can take you. So stay in school. I know that's kind of a cliche, but the reason I say that is because, you know, I'm in conversations, in rooms, in contracts, in situations constantly with people that are highly educated. They have, you know, in a lot of cases, law degrees, you know, and, you know, I find myself trying to have to keep up. And so I think an education would have helped me tremendously to be with the conversation a little quicker than I am. So I have to kind of learn double time, you know, nowadays. And I've gotten a good idea of things now, 20 years, you know, 20 plus years into the business. I've gotten a good idea, but that's 20-year education when I could have got it for three or four. So I would say further your education as long as you can. And I think essential to the process is know who you are as soon as you can. Be confident, be you, be authentic as quickly as you can get there.
Love that answer.
Love
You know,
it.
we really enjoyed having
We
you on today,
did.
and we look
Yes.
forward to having you back down the road.
I appreciate you guys. Thank y'all for the time today. It's good talking to you.
Our
Oh, we
pleasure.
appreciate it. Thanks so
You have a
much.
great day.
Have a great
Thank
day.
y'all. You too.
Bye.